Greetings to all of you. Mwena baramusiza. Kopango.
Ope.
Iriyo mabel.
Dio maber.
Ebinyera. Manzora. Nedi Afoyo, on behalf of the government of Mama Janet and myself, I congratulate all the believers in the new religions that started coming to our ancient societies in 1841, when an Arab from Zanzibar by names of Ahmad bin Ibrahim came to the palace of Kabaka Suna of Buganda and started talking about the Islamic religion. The first white man, Huntington Speke, came in 1862. The Anglicans came in 1877, and the Catholics came in 1879. These new people brought different angles of looking at God. The indigenous religions also believed in Ruhanga Nyamuhanga, o Katonda ow'obutonzi, o Rubanga. But they also believed in ancestral spirits, emizimu, emisambwa, which the experts should talk about. I've never had time to discuss with the Interreligious Council these issues. Our societies, however, had not heard of Jesus or Muhammad, and the elucidation they brought on this matter. It was therefore wrong for Mwanga to want to kill this new perspective about the supernatural realm. It is good that the young boys and some girls, I'm told, were ready to give up their lives for the freedom of worship, for the new perspective the new religion had brought. That is what all and sundry should know about the Africans of this area. They can sacrifice for legitimate causes they believe in. Indeed, a few days from now, on the 9th of June, we shall be celebrating not only martyrs, but martyrs and heroes that faced Basilio Okero in the village of Chikandwa in 1981. Rutamaguzi, Edidian, their leader, told them, Temulajana, okulajana kyeki mu Luganda. Okulajana kyeki to lament or what? To lament. That's what Rutamaguzi told his people when Basilio Kero was cutting them with panga. He told them, Temulajana, don't lament. The Nyankore would be Oktaka. Oktaka. Don't say, please don't kill me, don't kill me. That's what Rutamaguzi told them. In the old Banyankore Bahoro culture, it was common for one to suicide, kuita, rather than kwemuka, to betray others or incur shame. Therefore, we, the ancient people of this land, believe in the freedom of worship and not coercing people to believe this in this or that, as long as they do not break the law. We also believe in separating denominational issues from government issues, which are for all the citizens and even non-citizens that find themselves in Uganda. Good enough, Jesus helped us in the book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 17. He said, give unto God what is God's, and unto Caesar what is Caesar's. What then are the Caesar's issues in our times? The NRM identified 3 historical missions and 4 ideological principles. These are to create prosperity for all Ugandans through all adults engaging in producing a good or a service that they sell and get money to enhance their prosperity. That is historical mission number 1. Prosperity through wealth creation by producing goods and services. Strategic security for the whole of Africa. And number 3, using the Undugu of Africa to achieve the 2. With these 3 historical missions, the next question comes in. The question is, all the others become wealth creators instead of being idlers and beggars, whereby they all produce goods and services. Who will buy these products and services? If all the wealth creators produce goods and services, where is the market? Who will buy these products? This is what the NRM analyzed. Are the tribal areas markets and the denominational groups markets big enough to guarantee us a lucrative selling space? Because some people spend a lot of time telling you about tribes, about the denominational differences. Our question is, will those groups be able to absorb all the products we, the wealth creators, produce? History and common sense show us that tribal and sectarian markets are not big enough to guarantee our prosperity. The national market of Uganda will do it better. I don't have time to talk about that, but that's what we have seen. Hence, our ideological principle number 1 became patriotism. Love Uganda. Why? It is because you need it for your prosperity as a market for your goods and services. However, we soon discovered that even the market of Uganda is not big enough to guarantee our prosperity. Now that Uganda has settled down, we have got surplus production for very many products: milk, bananas, beef, maize, cement, steel products, sugar, blankets, tires, commercial explosives, ceramic tiles, industrial starch, etc., etc. Where do we sell this surplus? The NRM comes in with an answer. Have you heard of East Africa? Have you people heard of East Africa? There's something called East Africa. Kubanga muri mawanga, muri madini, abamu bebasa kwesira. Na ife tubabuuza, mwali muwuliddeko ekintu kye bayita East Africa. If you have you heard of Africa? There is something called Africa. Have you heard of it? But you are busy with the tribes. You are busy with the tribes, the dominations. Naye awo NRM webuuliza nti bannange mwali muwuliddeko kye bayita East Africa. Ate Africa yo mwali mugiwuliddeko? Katonda yeebazibwe oba mwagiwulirako. Those people, they can buy all your surplus. Abantu abo aba East Africa, aba Africa, bayinza kugula ebintu byammwe ebidibye. Hence, the second ideological principle of the NRM is Panafricanism. Panafricanism. Love Africa. Why? It is because you need it for your prosperity. Then we add other two principles: socio-economic transformation and democracy. Therefore, our constant advice to Ugandans is never to mix politics with the denominational loyalties. Politics is about our welfare on earth. Denominations and religion are about spirituality here on earth and life after, in heaven. Which aspects the religious leaders can speak about better. Coming to the religious groups, harmony in the country and the citizens' contribution. As the former president of the Scripture Union, well, I was president of the Scripture Union, (1965 to 1966). I like to quote the parable of the Good Samaritan, found in the book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 30 to 35. It says, that portion, it says, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. Likewise, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But the Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was. And when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him, bandaged his wound, put on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. End of quotes. I am told that the Samaritans were not mixing with the Jews for reasons known to themselves. However, the Samaritan helped the injured man, while his fellow Jews, who were also religious leaders, a Pharisee and a Levite, passed him by, bakamarabaho, bamuyitako. Jesus praised the Samaritan, which enforces another religious teaching, which says that we shall know them by their fruits. We shall judge them by their actions. Coming to religious harmony, as a former president of the Scripture Union, I like to quote the Church of Uganda prayer book on page 207. It says that, let your light so shine before men, even the Archbishop Orombi quoted it. I think we had conspired by telepathy, because he also quoted it. It says, let your light so shine before men that they see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven. End of quotes. Do not attack other religions to prove that you are the only agent of God on earth. Influence people by example. In the bush, I would like the Interreligious Council one day to invite me so that I tell them about what we did in the bush for 5 years. In the bush, I lived very closely with the peasants, where you had Catholics at Chijaguzo, Kasana, Anglicans, Chirema, Kufu, Busunju, Timuna, Bachwanga, Kaloke, Muslims, Kangave, Kaumu, and the traditional religion everywhere. Indeed, most of the Christians and Muslims were also believers in the traditional religion. Many people don't know this. But me, I lived with the peasants. They are Christians in the morning and in the Masabo, in the night. I lived with them. I know the whole story. We united all of them around the knowledge of science. What I would do, I would not condemn whatever they are doing, except if it injured life. Otherwise, okay, what you have said. Now, fighting. And fighting, you need science. Doesn't need superstition. We united all of them around the knowledge of science. A bullet kills, while prayers help and all holy. Read, held by a fighter, is not protection against bullets. Because sometimes these traditional people say, to our soldiers, if you hold Olumuri, a reed, the bullet will not catch you. Because that is the number. We would say, no, please. You stand there and we shoot you and we... Oh, would unite them around science. That is how our prominent Mayembist, because the traditional people believe in Mayembe, the horns, they have horns which they throw around. Our prominent Mayembist, Ludovico Garimpitawa, Amayembe Garimpitawa, of Mijinje, Emundu Tetia Mayembe, That's what Dodovico said. Said the gun does not fear bullets. It does not fear bullets. The bullet does not fear the Mayembe. So by interaction, we're able to influence them, to move in the right direction. However, you could see that a number of times there was a divine intervention on our side. You could see that God was intervening on our side. This confirms our ancestors saying, Lubale mbera nembero kwotadde. God helps those who help themselves. This also goes with the parable of the talents. It is also more or less in that line. This year, the government gave the Catholics shillings 2 billion, the Protestants shillings 2 billion, and the Muslims shillings 200 million for this occasion. I directed the government to make this contribution part of the government budget annually. Since many Ugandans participate, I'm happy to see all of you walking, sitting here. The government spent modernizing this infrastructure today at both the Catholic and the site. When the Muslims are ready, we shall also support them, because I'm told some Muslim followers were also killed by Mwanga. So I'm very glad that when we came from the bush, we interacted with the Cardinal Nsubuga and danced Nsubuga. Because in the past, they would celebrate the 3rd of March at the weekend, when it had already passed. But we said, no, this is a very big event. Let's have a holiday for it. Let's make it a holiday. So I'm very glad when I come and see so many of our people walking and participating and remembering those young people 140 years ago who rejected the narrow-mindedness of Mwanga and his and long live Uganda, long live the freedom of worship. Thank you very much.